Welcome to my video. This is tips for healing from trauma based on your specific trauma responses. Hi. In this video, I wanted to give you some practical tips about how you can get you and your body out of situations where everyday events cause you to feel like you're back in a traumatic situation. If you're lucky enough to be in therapy, great. It's 1 hour out of 168 hours of your week. And yet trauma recovery is a 24/7 process. I made this video because if you're going to heal, you need to find something to do about the other 167 hours of your week. One of the main goals of getting out of problematic reactions to triggers is to maintain what's called sympathovagal balance. Some people call it being in the window of tolerance. When you can get there, neither the sympathetic fight or flight system nor the parasympathetic shutdown or dissociative system is too prominent. So this is what it looks like. These are the ways we react to our environment. Ideally, we should have healthy responses to our environment, which means being in the window of tolerance. You're grounded, you're flexible, you're open and curious, you stay in the present moment, and you're able to emotionally self-regulate. If your sympathetic nervous system is too aroused, it's called hyperarousal. Your energy state is too high. You might be anxious, angry, overwhelmed. Be in your fight or flight mode. You may feel chaotic. You may feel hypervigilant. This is also called sympathetic overdrive. On the downside, you could have hypoarousal, which would be parasympathetic overdrive. You might feel shut down, numb, depressed, way too passive, withdrawn, frozen, or locked into shame. If you've watched my previous video, you'll know about the trauma responses or the defense cascade. When exposed to trauma, you can feel aroused or have arousal. This is when you first notice something is wrong. Then you might go into fight or flight mode, where there is sympathetic overload and you feel like fleeing or fighting your enemy. Then there is the freeze response, where both the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems are activated. Next is tonic immobility. This is also called feigned death. This is when the parasympathetic nervous system starts to dominate over the sympathetic nervous system. Last, there is collapse or parasympathetic system overload. It's possible to switch between these depending on the circumstances you have in your daily life. Before I get into the tips, I wanted to talk about one thing. Because the defense cascade happens in a certain order during the experience of trauma, the recovery tends to require moving up the cascade in reverse order. In other words, if you find yourself always in tonic immobility or find yourself frozen, recovery means going back into the experience of fight or flight in order to heal. Don't let this freak you out. You can do this. It's okay. These are the things you can do when you're too aroused or when your sympathetic nervous system is too active. It can be also when you feel like you're in a fight or flight mode or just too agitated or anxious to deal with life. There are many breathing interventions that I will talk about in another video. These include controlled breathing, coherence breathing, breathing at your resonance frequency, breathing with prolonged expiration, in other words, breathing in, breathing out very slow. Physical exercise, especially calming exercise like yoga, tai chi, qigong, and progressive muscle relaxation will help you calm the sympathetic nervous system down. Yoga itself is one of the greatest things for calming the sympathetic nervous system, especially when you use it along with breathing. All of these things will dampen the sympathetic nervous system and strengthen your parasympathetic nervous system. If you feel like you don't know where to start, how to do yoga, how to do resonance breathing or coherence breathing, I will talk about it in a later video and I will demonstrate how these things work. So what if you're frozen? You feel like your mind is in high gear, but you literally can't move. Some tips. Mindfully observe your body's sensations and track them. Breathe into the fear until they have passed. Put aside any emotions, memories, and thoughts for the moment. It's time to work on your body. Pay attention to objects in the room. Notice their color, their texture, their shape. Anything that will distract you from the strength of the sympathetic nervous system. Imagine a safe image in your mind or a safe place. Listen to a soothing voice. Shifting out of tonic immobility. When you're in a state of tonic immobility, you often feel disconnected from yourself. To try to get out of this, you need to become aware of your body and space. Touch something nearby to stabilize you. Become aware of your breathing. Move anything you can, even if it's just your little finger or your toes. Do a body scan to see where you have tension. Place your hand on your belly and feel it move up and down when you breathe. This might take some practice. Feel water running or air moving over your body. Feel your strength by pushing your feet on the floor or your hands against the wall. It's all about grounding, finding your body, and then moving it. Finally, we'll talk about the collapse immobility state and tips for managing it. Remember, this is when the parasympathetic nervous system is dominant and you might feel lightheaded, faint, or shut down. The idea is to pick up subtle warning signs: blurring of your vision, sweating, nausea, warmth, lightheadedness, and fatigue. If you're standing, try to tense your leg muscles or move from side to side. Breathe slowly in, but quickly out. Try to do 10 seconds in and 5 seconds out if you can. This actually strengthens your sympathetic nervous system so you feel more activated. Know what your triggers might be and lie down if you know you might collapse. Focus on movement before you collapse. Practice strong yoga poses so you can remember these and focus on your strength when you feel most likely to collapse. The idea behind all of these tips is practicing somatic mindfulness or body mindfulness. Be curious about your body's sensation, not afraid of them. Attend to the parts of your body that are trying to tell you something. Again, be curious. Feel your body as a solid thing in space. Move your body in ways that comfort you in the moment. So this video is just a start. Some tips to think about when you feel like you might be triggered by current events and when you might feel like you're in some kind of traumatic situation when in reality you're just in an everyday stressor. I will talk a lot more about things like resonance breathing, coherence breathing, yoga, and all the things you can do that use the mind-body connection to help yourself heal from trauma and retrain your body to respond in different ways to everyday stressors. Thank you for visiting my video. Please like and subscribe. Bye.